Well, there you have it, folks. It has been confirmed. Crunchyroll is, in fact, looking into AI technologies for translation, specifically subtitling, some other uses within the company itself, in the website for people's discoverability and whatnot. And additionally, talking a little bit, hinting a little bit at the idea of using AI to do dubs as well. But yes, a couple days ago, I did a video talking about this interview between Rahul Purini, who is the president of Crunchyroll, with The Verge. And specifically in that video, I was talking about the bigger thing that was in that interview, which I thought was the whole situation with Funimation purchases and people losing them when it went to Crunchyroll. People actually losing what they bought because of the fact that digital ownership is not ownership. But yes, it seemed like a lot of people were jumping on another part of that interview, which talked about AI. Now, when I heard that part, I just went, okay, that makes sense. I mean, that's the assumption. The assumption is that every single company in the world right now is looking to AI technologies. And yes, I guess I didn't really kind of look at it too much in the fact that we get a lot of fiascos that come from certain translations looking like they're AI. Yes, late last year, we had the whole situation with Yuzuki Family's 4 Sons, and that subtitling was horrific. Now, at the time, Crunchyroll had claimed that it wasn't their fault. Like, they were looking into the licensor and saying, okay, we're going to get a proper translation and we'll get back to you guys. Well, that your guys are the ones that are translating. Why are you blaming the licensor? It seemed like they were deflecting. But again, with this interview, it sort of indicates that no, that might have been them trying it out and it failed miserably. Now, it could have been the licensor did the AI translations for them and they just kind of posted it and whatever, because who the heck watched Yuzuki Family 4 Sons besides Andrew, who absolutely loved it. It was the best show of that season. That aside, though. But yes, everybody was obviously chirping about this, and I was actually getting a lot of replies to my Yuzuki Family's 4 Son video, so I figured I'd come in here and give you guys the full context of the actual interview so that you guys can make a decision on your own. But in the question itself, it says there's interesting technologies in the mix there where you can add some value because you do have a direct, both economic and creative relationship with the creators. You mentioned the delay just for dubbing. There are new technologies like simuldub. There's simulcasting just to get it at the same time. There's potentially AI in the mix. Are you thinking about those kinds of technologies? I have to say, I'm not sure what the host is talking about here with the whole, there's technologies like simuldub. It's not a technology. It's literally, they get the file and they put it on their site. That's not a technology. That's literally just posting a master. I don't know, maybe there's something in simuldub that I'm not aware of. But yes, his response is very, very interesting. He says, AI is definitely something that we think about a lot of different workflows within the organization. Right now, one of the areas we are very focused on testing is subtitling and closed captioning, where we go from speech to text, and how do we improve and optimize our processes where we can get the subtitles done in various languages across the world faster so that we can launch as close to the Japanese release as possible. So that's definitely an area we are focused on. I think most people got the caption there, areas we're focusing on. But what's interesting about this comment is that there is a few steps here. He's talking about specifically, of course, the workflow, getting the original, getting it into text, getting it transcribed, getting it turned into, getting it translated, and then getting it onto the video and getting it put up there in as many regions and as many languages as possible. I think this is something that a lot of people kind of miss when we're talking about using AI to translate. In a lot of cases, it's not about firing all the translators. I know a lot of people are celebrating with this whole thing of the groups that are anti-localizers, which I kind of am a little bit in that area. I do hate a lot of localizers. I mean, the whole, like I mentioned before, the whole thing with the lovely Complex, that is literally, yes, that one person, not the entire industry, but it was basically the boogeyman. That is an example of everything we don't like about localizing encompassed in one situation. And it's me more saying the idea that a lot of these different aspects of that whole situation is sprinkled here and there. I don't go a day watching anime without seeing some subtitle that's either wrong, it doesn't make any sense to what was actually said, or just has some stupid joke in there that the translator thinks are so funny for thinking of. Like some old dad joke or some Twitch chat humor. But what people don't seem to understand is it's not so much, right here, it's not so much Crunchyroll and really any organization. It's not them saying we need to get rid of translators. Because yes, most people argue that translators aren't getting paid well. I've seen countless posts about translators and how very little they get paid. It's not about them not paying those people and firing them. We have to take into consideration this isn't really necessarily Crunchyroll, Sony, whatever, trying to save money. It's them trying to gain money. That's the key thing here. It's not preventing losing money because they can pay those translators. they want to gain money faster. And how do they do that? They actually have to spend money. I know this is a shocker, right? Paying into generative AI translations and paying somebody to monitor the AI translation and to manipulate in whatever way they need in order for it to work for them specifically, all this stuff costs money. So it's actually going to cost them more to push into this realm than it's actually going to save them from the translators. Yes, they're going to save a little money there, but they're still going to have somebody watch it. And that person that watches it might have to get paid more. So this is an aspect of not so much them saving money, but actually trying to gain it in the idea that if they can get it translated and on that video faster, they will get it out into more regions, and those more regions will then want to sub. I mean, a prime example is the whole situation with High Dive. Why did High Dive apparently fail in certain regions that were Spanish speaking? It's because they weren't getting it there fast enough. And if they were getting it there, that was in English. Not providing a service as good as possible to the users as fast as possible is going to lead to the idea of not getting that service. People want it fast. It's supposed to be already aired, and I'm seeing people talking about it. I'm seeing screenshots on Twitter. Where's my episode? Well, I'm not going to sub to you if you don't give me the episode. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go elsewhere. And that's what sort of Japan's always been focused on. You have a lot of cases like with the whole situation with the Ancient Magus' Bride. It's not necessarily they're trying to prevent a translator in the West from getting a job. It's they're trying to get it translated as fast as possible and get it global before somebody else looks at it or somebody pirates it and fans subs it themselves. They're trying to get as many people as fast as possible and make money. That's the focus, not save money, make money. And I think that's, a thing that a lot of people are missing. Now, I know that a lot of people are encouraged by something like this because, obviously, again, in the realm of the anti-localizers or the people that just don't like to see their... I'm in the camp of not anti-localizer. I'm in the camp where a lot of people are where it's like, just don't screw up my subtitles. Just give me what the character says and don't put your own crap in it. That's my camp. That's my camp. I watch a lot of shows and I enjoy what they do. And guess what? I never complain because they're actually giving me what I want. It's just whenever they give me what I don't want, yes, I'm going to raise hell with it. Now, with the camp of the people that are in my camp or just the anti-localizers, we're celebrating. I'm not necessarily celebrating, but there's a lot of people celebrating. Yay. Good riddance to localizers. Hold on. Wait. Slow down. I think there's a fear here. I have personally a fear here where I think we're overlooking a key feature here. Yes, the idea of an AI translating something is very, very much so something a lot of people want because, again, they're just focused on the, maid dragon situation. We're focused on, saying no cap. We're focused on the Twitch humor stuff. We're focused on putting Spanish words inside of an English subtitle setting, which you then have to translate with Google because you don't know what they're saying because for some reason Subtitler decided to put Spanish in it. All those things. Putting, agendas into subtitles, all that kind of stuff is really frustrating. But I think we had a prime example here recently, but I think what people don't seem to understand is that AI is still man-made. And AI is, in often cases, very centralized to one location. Whereas with translations and human translations, they're giving these products out to multiple people. And every now and then, you'll get one of those people has an agenda. And suddenly they just decide to break your subtitles and translate it in an improper way. And then you get mad. And then you, of course, group it up and say, you localizers are destroying my anime. Now, let's for once think about now all these people are AI. And it's all that one place. Because it's not going to be like, okay, we gave this one to this AI. We gave this project to this AI. No, they're going to give it to one AI. Now, what if the people programming that AI, because again, AI is programmed. There is a company behind it, and they will set certain rules. Now, think of that one company that has your AI that's translating your anime has that one type of person in it. That person that wants to put a political spin on things. Suddenly, every single project will be improperly translated. Mark my words, if the wrong company is AI translating your anime, everything's going to be improperly translated. And I don't mean they're going to put the wrong word in there or whatever. They're going to put certain rules in play that will manipulate the actual output. And then suddenly, every time a character talks about, let's say, rice balls, suddenly everything that gets translated about rice balls is turned into donut. And then suddenly every translation is done improperly because they don't like rice balls. Rice balls are very offensive, and they want to make sure every mention of rice balls is donut. That's what people I don't think seem to understand. AI is very useful. AI is very, very successful, and AI is not a case of if, it's a matter of when. But I think people are getting a little too ahead of themselves when they think that there's not going to be a situation in the future where suddenly AI is translating everything for Crunchyroll and it has an agenda. And the people behind it have an agenda. So keep that in mind. It's not going to go away if suddenly everything's AI. That said, there was some other stuff in this interview. He says dubbing, not so much yet for a couple of reasons. Our dubs tend to be adapted dubs. They are not direct translations, so it's a creative process. We have the teams that are focused on adapting the dubs to each region. Humor. That's the part that always bothers me with the dubs, is they want to put their humor. And yes, adapt the humor to a region. It's no longer Japanese. Why bother watching it if it's not Japanese? Anyways, that's a whole conversation, which I know a lot of people love, but that's why I don't like it. We also have the thing that we have to dub, and we can't edit the animation itself. So we have to get the match to the lip syncs correct. So it's definitely something that we are playing with. We don't find the technology to be there yet. But obviously, we also like playing in areas like personalization and discovery and how we can get generative AI in making that a better experience for our users. So yeah, a lot of different areas across the organization, we are testing AI. Now, the first part here I think is very interesting. Like I mentioned earlier, it almost kind of opens the door to the idea of AI dubbing. Now, again, where I kind of see this going, and it's again, not a matter if, it's a matter when. My assumption has always been that at some point they will have voice banks where they can input these translations and automatically generate voice dialogue through these voice banks. For those who don't know, like things like Hatsune Miku is a really good example there. Hatsune Miku is a voice bank. It has all these different inflections and different vowels and all this kind of stuff, and then they put in the words and it makes her say it. I mean, technically, with anything else, when you highlight some text with an add-on, you can have it read it to you. This is a thing that is very common. I mean, you look, Google search any politician says something AI, and you could see different politicians say the most crazy things they've never said before. This is something that is building. Now, obviously, the area where it still needs a lot of work is things like inflections and motion, all that kind of stuff. Getting an actual performance out of a character. But he's specifically not so much talking about that. He's just talking about how it can't sync. And he's talking about AIs that can possibly make it happen. This is me completely reading way into what he's saying here. It almost seems like, yes, that kind of opens the door to the idea of what if you have the translation in text format, you put it into this little voice bank, it suddenly produces this English voice actor to say these lines, and then they use AI to alter the actual lip flaps. That I have no doubt can happen. If you can have AI right now generate what looks like a live view of Japan with a lady walking down the street, you can make a lip flap longer or less, or change the lips itself to do something else. Just grab that shot and move the mouth however you want. I could see them totally looking at this technology. More so because, again, Crunchyroll is Sony, which Sony is Aniplex. These are actually anime-producing companies. I can totally see them looking into this technology in order to help it for being supplied elsewhere, because lip syncing is a big thing. Back in the day, yes, with like Godzilla movie and stuff like that, and the guy's like, oh my gosh, it's Godzilla. They didn't care back then to match things up. They know in order to make it less distracting for the viewer, they had to match that stuff up. They had to have these people actually go, okay, well, I can't say this long sentence. I need to only say like maybe five words right here in order to make it match. So I got to then alter the translation that's already been altered to match the actual lip flaps. And I can see them totally looking into technologies to extend lip flaps, shorten lip flaps, all to where they can quickly just translate directly from that subtitling, throw it into a voice bank, make the voice bank create it. Now, one thing that I've always talked about that I'd be excited for, honestly, is the idea of actually having these companies in Japan with these very famous voice seiyus actually produce a show or produce a voice bank so that they can actually do the English dub. So you'll have somebody like Kendra Suda, Andrew's man crush, have Kendra Suda essentially have a voice bank, and then whatever roles get translated into English with a dub, they can essentially just type it out with the translation and have the voice bank have him voice English as well. He doesn't have to know English. The translator and the AI does it for him. But again, it's going to come down to when they can get it to where those voice banks and the generative AI can actually do it in a way that it sounds real and it doesn't sound wonky and horrible and doesn't have emotion. Again, not saying it's something I want. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so there's just a hope that when it does go that direction, it goes in a direction that is beneficial to the actors, it's beneficial to the industry, it's beneficial to the people. And yet, yes, anybody that has a job currently that's going to be lost can hopefully transition into something else. Say all these translators being able to transition into a job of actually monitoring the actual translation the AI is doing and make adjustments where it needs to be adjusted. Because again, it's not necessarily about getting rid of those people. It's more of an aspect of trying to make sure that they are making more money. That's what these companies, all they care about, make more money. And the way they make more money is to get it out as many people as quick as possible, have the translations there. Every single region of the world gets these shows immediately when Japan gets it. The AI generates it, translates it, time codes it, puts it out there. That's what they're looking to do. Now, the other thing they had in the very end of this one is talking about the whole thing with generative AI and helping the better experience for the users. This is like a privacy thing. This is really a privacy thing. But again, every website you go to does this. If you go to YouTube and you watch 5-minute segment of this one video, it's going to look at what they were talking about in the video for that 5 minutes that you obviously watched because you didn't watch the rest of it, and they're going to give you things based on that. I can see this being a case for Crunchyroll. If you're watching a show and suddenly an ecchi scene comes up and you shut it off, they can quickly pick up. You turn it off the moment it got pretty ecchi. Don't give you anything else suggestion-wise to look at that. That's probably what they're talking about. I'm not sure what he means by generative AI. Generative AI means typically you're creating something, and I'm not sure how that applies to supplying you with things that are already created, unless they're looking into possibly generative anime, which I hope not. But again, not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Eventually, I think Crunchyroll will probably make AI anime. Just go with it. Just do it. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation. Like I said earlier, I kind of assume this is the case. If you watch any of their live streams from Japan, like Aniplex or the Anime Awards, they have a lot of like generative AI translations that are just kind of, what is this? I guess it's working. It sounds a little weird. It's some funny stuff. And again, something I already knew they were doing. It's just, this is finally where they actually come out and say they're actually doing it and where they're actually focusing that attention to. So yeah, depending on whether you're anti-localizer, you're in the middle there, or if you're like, oh my gosh, I want humans to do everything. It's an interesting topic, and unfortunately for some people is something that you can't avoid. And just hopefully, like I said, with the whole people that are, anti-localizers and they think that AI doing everything is a great idea. Again, look at a lot of controversies having right now. I mean, the whole thing with Gemini that was interesting. And on the other side, with people that don't want AI, it's like, well, then keep in mind that this is not something that you can actually fight. It's something that's going to keep going. The hope is, of course, in the middle there that we find ways to make sure that things flow properly, that people still have, at least some avenue for jobs, that we keep an eye on what the AI is doing and it's not doing something that is going to be equally as bad that people don't want. All that stuff is a very important thing to keep an eye on, and we'll see where it goes from here. But that's my thoughts on this whole AI translation with Crunchyroll situation. Again, something that was kind of assumed happening. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment. Let me know what they think of this whole situation. Be nice. People, when it comes to things like this, people get crazy. Be nice. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And again, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button, get my content and news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips, links, super links, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate everybody does. And I'll take care.